That she's not on. Hello, everyone.
Oh, we're live. Are we frozen?
Live. I don't know if we're frozen. We are having the hardest time, guys, because today, I think we are frozen.
I think we're
people
frozen.
Are coming on. No, look, they're coming on. Oh, there she is. Today, welcome. I know everybody's probably getting ready to watch the game, and we don't even know. But Tess, go to Chef Babette's Facebook page and tell us what you see. You guys, not frozen. Okay, good. Hey, how are you? Anyway, we are having the hardest time.
Oh my God!
This is what we have to say. There's football games going today, and I couldn't even find parking. That's how bad it was. So we're hoping that we actually can get through a show because we only have one comment. You are lovely and glamorous. Thank you. You're the only one talking, so maybe everyone else is frozen.
Anyway, so are we? Or what are we gonna do?
I never asked to be here. I get this message. Well, then get it. I'm not sure who Nate Tradimus is. I never asked to be here. I don't even know what that's about. So you can go if you didn't ask to be here. I mean, we're okay with that. You can go watch the game or whatever. Oh, you see us. Hey, Jello Lou. Oh, wow. We're climbing up. We got 100-something people on already.
Okay, cool. All right, well, so we're ready to go. Are we going to do our thing?
You're going to do the thing.
I'm going to do it?
Yes, you are.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, guys, just be careful. Now, what I want to say again is if for some reason we freeze too much, you got to let us know because we won't know. And we have a beautiful guest today, and we want to make sure you can hear everything that she says. So please keep us posted because they're zapping all of our internet today. Okay. Now, go ahead, Babette.
She's been shooting all day, so
I'm a little tired.
She's a little worn. So we gonna take care of our girl here.
Thank you.
Anyway, she got us sitting on the floor
because we're next to the
and I have to be even with her, and I have to sit up straight on the floor. I'm the oldest.
You know, you always complain about being old. You can do more push-ups than me. Be quiet. Nobody on this other side feel any empathy to you.
Please feel empathy.
No,
for me.
We already know better. You be on the thing showing your muscles.
I'm too old to be sitting on the floor.
You're out there showing your muscles to my, I'm 70. And then as soon as somebody asks you to do something, she got me sitting on the floor.
I'm too old to be sitting on the floor.
She tried to play the old card when she thinks it's going to work for her. And nobody buying it.
Y'all buying it?
Ain't nobody buying it.
Where's my baby? Where he at?
Who?
Tom. I know you would have my back, Tom.
Tom is watching. He's like, forget about it.
So Tom is going to just ditch us today.
No, but anyway.
Can I say who we are?
Go ahead.
We're just talking and people don't even know who we are.
Go ahead.
Welcome to another episode of Sunday Bites and Tidbits. I'm Chef Babette, and this is my beautiful co-host,
Terrah Bennett Smith.
And we have an amazing guest today, and I'm going to let Terrah tell you who that is.
Well, she's the CEO and founder of Plated Healthy. I mean, her resume is phenomenal, as well as she could tell you some things about
Really?
Don't do that. Because I just went blank.
Really?
Well, you know what?
She froze.
I know. I literally froze. But I was reading her resume, and there are a lot of things that I wanted to ask her about some of the stuff that's in our food, because she was on, what do you call it when they do, when you're on the
Why don't you bring her on and ask her?
I know. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, just bring her on.
See, this is why we can't.
Just bring her on, boo.
Her name is Dr. Tiana. It's spelled T-I-O, but it's Tionna L. Jenkins. So we're going to bring her in, and we're going to let her answer the questions, because poor little Terrah's had a very long day. I've been up since 3 o'clock.
Poor Terrah.
I've been filming all over the world and driving places.
Terrah.
And please welcome Dr. Tionna L. Jenkins.
Hi!
So we have explained to everyone that we have been having technical difficulties, and we will all come back if we will keep trying. But if it's not too much, we're going to have her back on the first Sunday in February, which is not next weekend. If she's available, the following weekend, and then it won't be no games, and it won't be interrupting our flow.
And you we'll have shots since 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, Oh, I'm sorry. I'm rubbing my nose. I don't want y'all to think I'm
my
on anything.
goodness.
I just got to, you can't rub your nose anymore, Doc, right? You can't sneeze.
No,
you can't
you absolutely
cough.
cannot.
Everybody looks at you. You got to make excuse. I'm sorry. I'm just coughing because I got something in my throat. That's why I'm coughing.
Yeah, you sneeze, people look at you real
like,
crazy. They be like, what? Really?
Mhm.
Is that Rona?
Yeah, everybody thinks you got one. You can't, sneeze used to just be a sneeze. I just bless you.
Is it Rona? Or is it COVID?
Which one is it?
Which one is it?
Corona?
I was doing both.
It's both.
Yeah, COVID.
And it's Rona,
and then, of course, some people do refer to it as coronavirus, but
okay,
right.
thank you, baby. Thank you.
So Jennifer Mayfield said, "Hi, Dr. Jenkins. Do you know Jennifer Mayfield?"
I do. Hello.
Okay, well, welcome. And we have so many, Natasha and Jesse and Patricia and Tina.
And no Tom.
Tina says, "I sneeze all the time." LOL.
Woo!
So we want to start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and your resume is huge. So I'm going to let you do that because I don't want to mess it up.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you all so much for having me. I watch the show. I'm a fan of this show every Sunday. So I'm always tuning in, always sharing, always pumping both you and Chef Babette up like all the time. So I definitely appreciate the platform.
Thank you.
So about me. Wow. So my career is in public health. That's my area of expertise. And I'm from the great state of Arkansas. Southern girl here. So my background is in public health, having over 15, 20 years in the public health space. So a lot of times folks are not very familiar with the area of public health, albeit, now they kind of are with, all the things happening with, COVID and things like that. But prior to that, folks are really not too much. They really didn't know much about public health, right? So in the field of public health, we practice on really ensuring wellness and health for populations, right? So we really focus on prolonging life, really focus on the prevention of disease. That is huge within the space of public health. And so all of my degrees and all of my training are in that space. And I primarily focus on changing behaviors of individuals, populations, and policy. Nice. So I know that's a lot.
You are a busy girl. My goodness.
Right. So
that's now you'll see why I couldn't remember any. That's it. She does something really good. And then I was like, now what is it?
It's a lot.
It's something that I like that I want to know about, but I can't remember what it is.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
Right. So an example of that would be, when you see things like, an example would be when you see changes in food policy, and we'll talk about food, although I work in several different areas around public health policy, but specifically since we're talking about food tonight. So when you see changes that happen if you remember, food policy changes in vending machines, right? So when it was a huge push to make healthier options in vending machines, that was public health. It was people behind the scene like myself who specialize in policy. So working with food vendors, working with systems and organizations to say, hey, folks need healthier options. This is another great option, although not the best. So when you look at restaurants and whatnot, so when you see all of the changes that are on the menus, and now you can see calories and things like that, so individuals can have a more informed decision of, what they're eating. That's public health policy.
Okay.
Right. And when you see people, trying to address food deserts within communities, right, that don't have grocery stores and fresh fruits and vegetables, that's food policy. So that's what I do.
Right. Wow. And now you are a vegan.
I'm a what?
You are a vegan, right?
I am. Yes, most definitely. Yeah.
I said, no, what if she's not a vegan? We said, you are a vegan. No, girl, I eat meat every week. I'll be like, okay, well, let's around a little bit. Okay, you might have been a vegan. No, I've never been a vegan. It's like, okay, well,
she would cut you off and say it was technical.
No. So you were asking about my background in public health. So just explain a little bit about that. However, Plated Healthy was born from me changing my lifestyle to plant-based and veganism, and really documenting that process of what that looked like. And then it, grew and grew and grew to where now, it is a full business and consulting firm where I work with individuals and organizations to try to change, being more inclusive of vegan and plant-based meals. And I do lots of cooking and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so this is a good question then for Anna Coleman is asking, I'm 61 years old. How do I get started? So if she was a Plated Healthy client of yours, what would you suggest to her?
Yeah, so I definitely would suggest, so I have a process where I coach one-on-one with individuals. I definitely would suggest going over, and it's really, I don't want to say basic, because a lot of times folks think that, those simple steps are things that they can just straight up Google. I think, and you can, so, don't get me wrong there. You can research and Google lots of things. But I think when you're transitioning to a plant-based and or vegan lifestyle, you really do need a coach and somebody who actually lives the lifestyle to do that. And you need a strong network as well. When I transitioned to this lifestyle, there were, not a lot of people that I saw that looked like me, and not a lot of folks within the South. Things are changing.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And so thank goodness for that. Things are changing, but it wasn't a lot of people. So I did reach out and follow lots of folks like, Chef Babette, she was one of the main ones that I was able to follow and kind of see her journey. Dr. Aries Latan, he's one as well. And then, folks that I could really kind of see their journey. So I would definitely say you would need to start with somebody that is actually following a plant-based and or vegan lifestyle, because folks now, I think sometimes it's the in thing to do.
Yes.
And so nothing wrong with that, because we want everybody promoting plants and all that kind of stuff, and removing meat and all that or whatever. But I think it really does help that you have somebody and an environment of folks who actually do live the lifestyle. The first thing I would do is really assess, if this is really something you want to do, because it does come with a lot of different changes, and you need to be very gentle with yourself. It took me, I've been vegan for 6.5 years now, but it took me some time to do that. So I think sometimes folks think that it happens overnight. So you definitely need to ask yourself that question: is this something that I really can do and want to do? There's tons of support systems out there. There's tons of now resources, but there are also still stigmas that come along with being in this lifestyle that you have to deal with too.
Exactly. And someone's asking, are you ever too old to become a vegan?
Oh, no.
No, you're never too
not.
old. But you know what, and you can maybe answer this. I have a lot of people now as friends who are, as they're getting older, because they're now having more health issues,
right.
They're really thinking about, they're making slight adjustments to their diet because, they're a little bit afraid that what they're facing right now might be due to their poor diet. And the thing is, you don't want to wait till you get to that place. You know what I mean? If you can't, because is that us? Yeah, that's us.
But don't you think, Doc, if we really understood who we were as a species and what the species is supposed to eat,
right?
Instead of us saying, "Are you too old?" You're already a vegan,
right?
You're just not practicing the lifestyle,
right?
So
right.
Of course,
right.
you're never too old. Now, this is not. Every question is a valid and good question. So I don't want my response to come off like, No, I'm just saying, it just seems to me like we're so ignorant, or we've been brainwashed to think that we're carnivorous.
Right.
And what do you say to that?
Yeah. So I would say it's a couple of things, right? So her questions, or whoever question that was, is a really good question. And what you said is really important. It has a couple of layers. So first and foremost, I would say that it's important that we understand that our original diet was not inclusive primarily of meat, right?
Right.
And so when you think about that, it really makes you wonder then, why are we consuming so much of those products? And why are we, so ingrained in that? I think another thing too is that what we, and again, this is just, my opinion and being within the community now for over 6 years, is that we have to connect food to family as well. So a lot of times folks are nervous about transitioning, or even like having a meatless Monday. Even if they don't go 100%, they're nervous about what their family is going to say and being isolated. That's a huge thing as well. I think another area too, where folks are like, oh, am I too old to do that? Because people are afraid of change. Like they like traditions. They like grandma, granddaddy's pound cake or whatever they used to eat.
It's good.
So people don't want to change because they're nervous about it. And then they're also nervous about what people are going to say. I don't know how long we have today, but I can just tell you when I first started,
an hour.
when I first started, I had supportive people, but it was also people who were like, what are you doing? You're not going to have enough protein. Why are you eating this way? Are you not going to come to the family functions? I would even go to some business meetings sometimes and folks would, try to pressure me and say, well, why don't you just go ahead and eat it for now? So it's a lot of those things that go on to where folks are, even if, we understand the importance of food and what as a species we're supposed to eat, there are all these other factors that are telling you and trying to enforce that, no, you're wrong, you're supposed to eat this way and that kind of thing. And we already know that cardiovascular disease, all these preventable diseases, chronic diseases, obesity, diabetes, all of them are, connected to the way we eat, our stress levels, and our imbalance of wellness. So we already know these things. This is not something that is not evidence-based, that comes from a journal. Evidence-based. This is just not, something that's on some popular news channel. This is evidence-based journals and research that tells us that if we eat certain foods, that we are going to be sick. And my thing is always to people, non-judgmental, if certain foods make you sick, why do you keep eating them?
Well, and we brought this point up last week, was that, I've had, I don't know if any one of us knows someone who have not gone through breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just speak on breast cancer because that's kind of, the few people I know have been through that. But the first thing the doctors take you off of is meat and dairy.
But they do that. They give us that upside down triangle, and they give you all this stuff that you're supposed to eat on this darn thing. And as soon as you start getting sick, they go back to the triangle and start taking everything off, talking about maybe you shouldn't eat that, maybe you shouldn't. Why did you give me that triangle to begin with?
And there's no water on the triangle.
Yeah, but why did you give me that triangle? And the problem to me is because of corporations and big money, you keep people ignorant, and then people will do exactly as they're told. Right. And so that's where I have the issue in a lack of education. But I find it necessary that everyone needs to be responsible for themselves, and you really need to figure your life out for yourself, because people don't really care.
Right. And I would add too. So putting back on my public health practitioner hat.
We have a public health question for you. So go ahead.
Okay. Putting my public health practitioner hat back on is that, yes, it is an individual responsibility. I get that, right? It's me making my decisions to, either, pick up that cheese or pick up that, milk or whatever. But we cannot negate the fact that there are other factors that influence people's decision making, right? So the environment in which people live. So if you live within a community that you don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and let's say you want to transition to eat plant-based and or vegan, that hinders you somewhat, right? If you are not economically able to afford certain things, right? And I'm not going to say that now, if you eat a whole food plant-based lifestyle, you can afford potatoes and kidney beans or whatever, right? And celery and your fruits and vegetables, the things that are a little bit more pricier, your vegan processed foods. But there are also things around cost that are also an issue as well. And we also have to understand that food is heavily tied to systems, right? And subsidies and things like that. So food is political. And so we have to have more conversations around changing policy that provides more access to folks being well.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's answer this, and I'm going to go into a few other questions.
That looks like a good one.
We got a few of them. That's good. Will becoming a vegan help with natural hormone replacement? Who can answer that?
Yeah. So I would definitely say there's literature out there that does support that, but not getting into any medical specifics here. Make sure you talk to your physician or your clinical care team. And if you have somebody that is a naturopathic physician or somebody from the clinical care team to help you with that, but definitely is literature that can support that.
Okay.
I love this question.
As a health policymaker, when will there be a good, real push towards truth in diet in schools?
Ooh. Yeah. So, let's say that so I've worked in healthcare policy for many different policymakers, both Democrat, Republicans, and independents. And so there have been a number of pushes for healthier diets in schools. One that we can remember not too long ago was First Lady Michelle Obama's Let's Move initiative, which I had an opportunity to work alongside the health care policy team there doing that. But again, those things have to be heavily pushed not only on a federal level, a state level, and a local level. But there's always pushes for healthier options in schools. It's just sometimes when our climate changes and different viewpoints come into being, those things change.
Well, it's also like educating the family too, because they have to also be part of that push. And if for them, it's like, I'm not giving up my hot dogs and stuff, and then it's very hard to get, the support that you need to go into the schools to say, look, we need, if 15 out of the 20 kids didn't eat it, it might make it easier, for that school to make a shift in diet.
But I can remember here in Los Angeles when they asked me to go. Remember when I spoke on that? And we were just trying to get cow's milk alternatives in schools. Can we please have a non-dairy milk available to kids like myself that had asthma, that couldn't ingest the milk without feeling sick? So, and that fell through. Remember, it looked like it was going to pass, and then it didn't.
Yeah,
right.
So I really remember.
And again, to your point, Chef Babette and Terrah, like that's exactly where the work has to continue. So yes, I work with individual folks on transitioning them to more, plant-based vegan lifestyle, but the work also has to continue in the space of changing policies and systems, which is why I'm really big on, ensuring that you're seeing, people on TV, on platforms like this, on television, nationally in their states, talking about plant-based and or vegan foods and pushing that to the masses. I'm really big on, I work with the Culinary Institution here within our state and changing I would say introducing folks to more plant-based and vegan options with the students there, with the chefs there, and with anybody who comes to my cooking classes. So sometimes those includes doctors and nurses and things like that. I also work with the first year medical students so that they can have more knowledge about plant-based food and its impact on healthcare outcomes. And I also work with colleges as well and teaching them and their chefs and introducing to students about whole food plant-based meals, specifically historically Black colleges and universities, of which I'm a graduate, Philander Smith College.
There you go.
Yes. So, it's really important that we look at systems, like you said, Chef Babette, like you have to change systems. And that's what population health is about. Yeah, it's good to work with individuals, but we have to change the mindset and systems of whole populations. And that takes time.
But and do you, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but do you really think that is a possibility of making that happen?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it takes time though, right? So we want to see immediate change. You want to see things happen right then and right now. However, I'm sure that there are lots of changes and things have evolved since when you all were, vegan or plant-based from whenever you started.
No, absolutely. Because when I first started,
there was
there was just lettuce.
There was no
food. Lettuce, tomatoes, and salad dressing.
Yeah.
And I was so hungry all the time. I was like, oh my God, how long am I going to do this? Because it was
right. But see, how many years did that take? So how many years did that take?
Well, that was 79.
So, I mean, it takes time.
And now they have
more people having conversation on the air, on the news. You have now more medical schools now who are like, oh, maybe we should have an intro class on plant-based health or plant-based nutrition or something like that. You have, Cornell University now who has, their certifications around plant-based nutrition. You have these different things happening.
Great. That's wonderful.
That's that one.
So someone says it's so expensive to eat healthy. It's crazy.
No, it's not. 99-cent store said 99-cent store sell organic produce.
Don't eat it.
I'm just
No, because I had two, and I got some of their vegetables from my friend, and they sat in my fridge for 6 months, and they ain't turned brown.
Right.
And they said organic.
Okay.
That's all.
Well, let me just talk to that a minute too, because that's a huge myth as well. So if you eat, again, whole food, plant-based food, stuff that is not packaged, stuff that is not canned, stuff that is not, I don't want to call out any names of any companies, but stuff that is not frozen, things like that, then it's, you can make all kind of stews, you can make all kind of soups, you can make all kind of raw foods, you can do all those kind of things, and it's not expensive. Now, what is going to take some time is for your taste buds to change.
That's what it is. That's what it is, Doc. You hit the nail right on the head. What it is you have to catch people right where they are.
Yeah.
The person that's saying that is normally not making a pot of lentil soup.
Yeah, and I make
yeah. So I have certain vegetables that I keep prepped because I can make so many different things out of these vegetables. Right. You make sure you got lentils. You make sure you got beans. You make sure you know that. I'm gonna let you finish that, but I beg to differ on it being so.
You make sure you have. I love collard greens. I can do so many things with collard greens.
Hey.
So I make sure I have kale. I make sure I have all these different things. So again, very, very good question, but it's what we think. It's what we tell ourselves, right? Okay. And it's how we look at food. It's also, what we feel is priority. So for me and myself, if I want something, well, let me just say, I'm going to invest in my health. I'm not really concerned about the price when it comes to the food, but I'm going to make sure that I invest in my health versus anything else. Now, that's not taken away from the fact that we do need to do some work around, policy and access when it comes to costs and folks being able to access stuff. But
my daughter has gone through a time when it was difficult for her to buy, to feed the entire family.
Yeah.
It was challenging for her, but however, she has adjusted their palates to soups and stews and stuff like that, so they will eat that kind of stuff.
Right. And it takes time. So I am the only 100% vegan in my family, so I'm still transitioning, my family as well. And so, I mean, it does take time, to get folks in their, palates to change.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I am diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and when I started clean eating and cutting all processed food, gluten and dairy, I am able to walk again. Yes, congratulations!
Yes,
congratulations!
Beautiful.
I can't. Sorry, I left my glasses there. I think it says French net.
It's French net Bryant.
French net Bryant. Well, congratulations! And you know what? How wonderful is that? When you see those little changes like them, that's a big change actually. But even just cutting out dairy so that you don't have to use your inhaler anymore. Things like that. It changes your life. You don't want to go back to that. So
And I will add too, a lot of times, when we talk about plant-based or, vegan eating, people do focus quite a bit on weight loss. Now, I lost over 80 pounds. So I'm always talking about, how I lost 80 pounds worth of weight, from, transitioning or whatever. And of course I exercise and all that stuff too, but it was primarily the food. However, there's so many other benefits to plant-based eating. So, and I would just personally say, for myself, I won't discuss, clients or folks who have shared with me their benefits, but, clearer skin. People are always asking me about my skin regimen. I'm like, I just, I drink green juice in the morning, clearer skin, things that have to do with, a lot of times we don't want to talk about this, but, since we, women on here, your reproductive system, when you talk about your cycles and things like that, they're not, for me personally, not as heavy, not as,
exactly. You don't have the cramping and all that stuff. It really does alleviate a lot of that.
It does.
Well, there was another question. This person said it's also expensive not to eat healthy. Hospital bills and pharmaceuticals.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So you pay now, pay later.
Now, pay later, and the pay later is going to be worse because now you got aches and pains with the pay later.
Right. Exactly. Now, and I will say too, again, like, you see some people or some hospitals now trying to integrate small things around plant-based options and stuff. So, that's a good win.
And this person said, I get a bag of lentils for $1.29. I always eat it with olive oil. Cheap vegan eats. There you go. $1.29.
Exactly.
You make a whole big pot of lentils.
But lentils, you can make so many different flavors. Oh my God, lentils are the best. Yes.
Right. You can also do a lot with chickpeas.
Chickpeas. You can make you some tuna. It's all kind of stuff you can make with chickpeas.
That's the fun part about it is that you can really get in there and create some wonderful, healthy recipes.
But I mean, kids Google everything nowadays. There's so many fun recipes. And I made a video the other day just saying, when I look at recipes, I look at what you've done. I love looking at pictures. I'm inspired by color. And then I just make it my own. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I adjust it to my palate. And that's all people have to do. But you can't be lazy.
No, you sure can't. And I will say, a lot of times too, the question comes around, you cook a lot. I'm not going to do all that cooking. I'm like, well, I don't know exactly how you're going to eat plant-based unless you cook.
Unless you're going out and you're going to be a junk food vegan.
Yeah, because Doritos and Pepsi are vegan, but not healthy.
But not healthy at all.
Right.
And there are a lot of vegans that live off of that.
They do.
Here's a nice long question. There's a couple of them. Good evening, ladies. I'm a vegan cook in Houston, Texas. I'm definitely progressing in this lifestyle. What are your thoughts on mock meat? Recently, I had a reaction to beef mock meat when preparing teriyaki at home. So again, what are your thoughts on soy meat, pea protein, and plant-based mock meats? Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your dialogue.
Well, Chef still uses soy, but I don't use any of the mock meat in the restaurant, period.
Right.
I'm not into it. I make my own burger patties out of nuts and mushrooms.
Right. Yeah, and I will say too, I think they're good for transitioning. I don't think that they are good for continuation. So I am more of a, beans and peas. I do a lot of raw foods, but I didn't start out that way. So I don't want anybody to feel any kind of way about, if you're at a phase where you're just now getting into plant-based eating or vegan eating or whatever, and you need to still feel that, meat or whatever. I did, so, but it took me some time to transition, to that.
Yeah. And that's the thing, the one of the things that I find, a lot of people find, is that it's not even the meat that you crave, it's the texture, it's the sensation.
And it's the fat. People are addicted to fat.
So, finding things that, like I always say this, when I used to love sushi and how I gave up sushi, it's like, well, you don't have to give up sushi because it's not the raw salmon inside that you love. It's the seaweed on the outside, the texture, and dipping it in the soy sauce, which is now Bragg's, and eating it. And it's the same sensation. So you don't lose when you really want that fried, crispy thing. You fry yourself some oyster mushrooms. There are ways to get around so you can really enjoy the texture, which is what we really miss.
But Doc, what's your take on people having to manufacture something that's going to take on the texture of a dead cow or a dead pig? And my point is, when stuff is when it's that heavily, what do you call it? Not manufactured. What is the term? What
are you saying? Processed? When it's that heavily processed?
Is that it? I mean, does the body even recognize it as real food?
Yeah. So, I'm trying to be mindful and watchful of my words.
I know you have to be, Doc, but I don't have to be.
Well, you should be.
Well, I am mindful. I'm not cussing on here. I'm telling the truth. Man, I'm saying that when food is heavily processed, it does not work well for the human body. That is not right.
I always lean back on if you are using that as a transitional food, okay. I give folks a pass on that, and everybody doesn't, have the same opinion as me. Some people, like, that's all they eat. That's all they're ever going to eat. But from a public health and wellness perspective, I'm about natural foods. And so that is what I'm always going to promote the most. But I do understand there is a place for it. I just think that we need to eat those foods that are grown from the earth more so than anything else, because that is what our body understands. That is what our body communicates with, and that's what our body thrives on.
And if we don't understand the importance of this being your car, this is your vehicle.
It sure is.
And it's like any other vehicle. If you don't give it the best oil, the best gas, the best care, you're not going to have a vehicle. I mean, you could lose a tire.
Like, I was having this conversation. It's kind of like, if you know that your vehicle, let's just say you use, gasoline, right? You're not the electrical environmental vehicle, but you say you use gasoline. It's just like you pouring sugar into your car, right? It's not going to operate effectively. You may get a mile or two down the road.
But you're going to blow your engine, period. But the deal with that, Doc, is that people believe that they cannot put sugar in their automobile tank because they know that they will mess their car up. They believe that, but they don't believe that refined sugar will mess up their insides. They don't believe that because the human body is so intelligent and it heals itself so beautifully that they don't see it until later on in life. If they saw it as immediate as putting sugar in your car tank, things would be a whole bunch different. Things would be a whole bunch different.
You make a beautiful point. We just have to continue to not only push the message like we're doing right now, but even on greater and greater and greater platforms. And not only, to individuals that we're speaking to now, but in organizations and hospitals. People think that they don't have a level of influence, right? Or affluence. And so whatever network that I'm a part of, people know this is my lifestyle. This is how I eat. They know I'm going to be promoting that to change within their organizations. And so I think that we just have to continue to push that message. Yeah.
So let's go to this, and then I want to get back to some of the other things that you're working on. Okay. Living in the South, particularly in areas not plentiful in vegan restaurants and farmers markets, how do you break the monotony with food choices? And is the transition of the mindset more important than a bigger variety of options?
Okay. So I would definitely say transition of the mindset is extremely important. And first and foremost, one, you have to realize and know that you're supposed to be eating the way that we're talking about tonight. The monotony of food choices. Now, if you're, the internet has a plethora of folks who are cooking all day long.
And not only that, you can order food right off the internet.
You can order food right off the internet. I cook on my, Instagram. Chef, everybody is cooking. You got ideas all over the place. So I think you break up the monotony of food by really being open to researching what are other ways to cook lentils, to cook chickpeas, to cook, these different things. One thing that's coming to my mind, lasagna, the eggplant lasagna. There's so many different ways to make eggs.
So many different ways.
Right. So the monotony breakup is you breaking out of your circle of resources and really searching other places and other things and following folks to see like, what else can I cook? And, you know, being from the South, I will say we are very limited in some areas growing, you know, in the South, but we're very limited in some of the restaurants that are 100% vegan or 100%, you know, offer those options. Now, you do have some restaurants who now have a better vegan option if you're just going out and, you know, purchasing food from restaurants and things like that. But you have that phone, you got the internet, you better Google, you better reach out to somebody, take a cooking class or something.
Right. Well, this Babette said we already talked about this. I might have missed it. I'm sorry. I don't remember when they were talking about there's still overweight and unhealthy vegetarians and vegans. Yes, obviously, if you're eating, oh yeah, we did, because we were talking about eating Doritos and Pepsi as a vegan diet because those are vegans.
Right.
But we're not talking about that as a choice to be healthy. You know,
right.
There's so many things you can eat that are vegan because they don't have any meat or dairy, but they're filled with sugar and chemicals, which of course, yeah. And also being vegan doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be thin.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. I was about to say that too. A lot of people, you know, assume that, oh, if you're vegan, you're thin. And the thing is, you know, I've, you know, met a lot of people who are, you know, vegan and vegetarian, and that's not their thing. They don't want to, you know, focus on, you know, wellness or, you know, health. And so just because you say, oh, you know, I'm eating vegan, that you're going to automatically be, you know, thin, if that's the outcome you're searching for.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, you know, let's share a little bit more about what's going on with you. We know we have Played It Healthy. What else are you working on?
Yeah. So lots.
Okay, come on.
Working on, you know, with the shift of the world, right? And everything happening, everybody had to make pivots and, you know, still kind of doing so. So I have always done cooking classes and they've always been in person for folks to come. And that had to stop because, you know, you can't have no more than 20 people. And so my cooking classes would always have more than 20 folks or more. So now we will be having our online cooking courses that will be coming up really, really soon for folks to cook along with me. All the various options that we're talking about right now, and you'll, you know, get that one-on-one time with me. You'll also get, you know, your recipes and all those that good stuff. You'll log into a platform and have all the necessary tools for you to cook vegan.
That's wonderful.
And plant-based. And so we've, you know, shifted that platform to make sure that folks can still have cooking classes. I have, you know, students and followers and things like that, and supporters saying, okay, we want the cooking classes. And I'm like, you know, got to figure out, you know, what platforms we're using and making sure that people can, you know, interact and engage. So that's, you know, on the Played It Healthy piece. I also finished a wholesale manufacturing licensing process, which took about a year or so. But we will be, now we have our license to have food products. And so we're going to be doing our soft launch of our food products that have all of the regulations, the nutritional labels and everything approved by the USDA and FDA. They'll be sold on e-commerce first. We're going to do a soft launch and we're doing small batches of food. But they have went through all the processes to be in stores. But that's a whole nother process of pitching to the stores and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Got a lot going on.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. So I put all in the ticker thing at the bottom is all of her contact information. Everyone is just scrolling across. Make sure you get her email and her website and all of that.
Yes, so and I have my cookbook on there too if people are interested in purchasing a cookbook too.
And what's in the cookbook? What do they have to look over?
So I mean, again, very, very whole food, plant-based foods. I'm one who I use a little oil, but I use very minimal oil when I cook. And so that's another big thing. I know we didn't have a lot of time to talk about, but I do use, you know, very minimal oil. And so my cookbook, Cooking in Color, Simple Plant-Based Recipes, is right here for folks, if you can see that.
Oh, nice.
And so very simple plant-based recipes for people starting out. Again, you will have to cook. You're gonna have to cook. You're gonna have to bring out your utensils, and you're gonna have to bring out your measuring cups, you know, that kind of thing. So it's really important for you to do that. But that's some, you know, it's on the website for you to purchase too.
Nice.
Okay. So you do your public health now? Is that a mainstream, or is your cooking, your books? How do you juggle all these businesses?
Yeah, I do a lot.
Let me just say that one of the reasons why I'm asking is because so many people, you know, when we hear people talk about, I got this, I got that, sometimes they say you're a jack of all trades, master of none, but you really are doing all of these things, and they're kind of all interconnected under an umbrella.
They do.
Of health.
Yeah. So at the top of, if you want to look at it at the top, I'm a public health practitioner, and everything else falls up underneath that, right? So again, I do, public health practitioner is the umbrella, but I have expertise in, policies and advising and things like that. So I still work in that space, but I also primarily work in the plated healthy space, where I'm doing a lot of things around plant-based cooking, plant-based eating, consultations and things like that as well. So, and then our food product line. But yeah, it all falls up under the public health space. And then I cook on TV too. So that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
So as a public health person, are you concerned with what we're eating? Because if you weren't even a vegan and you just looked at, and because there are a lot of people who are not vegans who kind of work in public health, possibly. Right. Do you find that they are just as concerned with what's in there, or this is just a job? Do you find them transitioning into trying to, change even themselves and other people?
Yeah. So I will say, as somebody in the public health space, we still have a lot of work to do for those of us who actually work in public health. Whether whether you are a physician, a nurse, a respiratory therapist, anybody who works within the healthcare space, we personally still have a lot of work to do, and not only walking as we preach, but being an example, which is another reason too. I can't be out here in the streets telling folks to eat healthy, and I'm not doing that, right? A lot of people do it.
A lot of people do it.
We're glad you don't.
That's right, because they'll say, I wouldn't eat that. I mean, they say it's in there, but I can't stop because it's just good. I understand, but I wouldn't eat it. But no.
Right. And again, I personally cannot do that. I think if you are out promoting something, and specifically if you are in if you have a healthcare role, then you need to be living that lifestyle, right? And so I think folks, yes, if you're not a vegan or vegetarian or whatever the term is that we're using, that you want to use, people are concerned about it, but now actually doing it is a whole
other thing.
Right?
It's a discipline. It's a real discipline, especially when you've grown up eating a certain type of kind of way, as my friend said, which kind of way. I don't
want to categorize everybody either, because we do have some folks who are, living healthier and exercising and eating better. We have some people who are now transitioning to vegan and or plant-based. So I don't want to categorize everybody, but I will say this right here brings up a conversation that I had when I first started. I had an actual physician. I was up doing a presentation at a conference, and I had a physician approach me, and they were like, "Oh, that's all well and good. Your little story sounds wonderful."
Your little story,
right? Your little story sounds wonderful, what you're doing, but I'm a PhD. I have a PhD. So I'm an MD. I'm a medical doctor, and I have patients all the time. They're not going to change, what they're eating. I just continue to give them the medication. Yeah.
Well, that's because you don't really care.
Yeah. But so you have people like that, and then you have folks who are like, "This is amazing. Yes, we want to work with you. Yes, we're doing this." So
I'm just happy that you are doing what you're doing to assist and to help, really and truly, because sometimes I might come across a little hard, but it's so important to me. There's so much illness.
Yes.
So much illness on the planet, unnecessary illness because of deceptions and lies. And it's just so nice and refreshing to speak to a doctor who tells the truth.
I stick with one of the things that a doctor, and I say this almost every week because we don't even think about it this way, is that, this doctor was talking about, he said, we're the only species that feed our babies another species milk.
Right.
We don't even think about it. I mean, I never even thought about it like that.
Right.
Nobody else.
But now we're starting to think about it because now people are talking about it, right?
Yeah, and also people can't tolerate it. You know,
and they can't tolerate it. They absolutely cannot tolerate it.
There used to be a time they used to say that brown people, black people couldn't tolerate dairy. It's like, come on, we are a species. Stop separating us by color all the time. It's not about that. It's about a species, and there is a diet for the species. Just be honest about that. Can we just educate people that there is a specific diet for the human species, period? Right. And why on earth, if you grow teeth and your mama don't have no more milk in her breasts and you 40 years old, why you still need some milk? I'm sorry. Anyway.
I'm just shaking my head, yeah.
Well, like Dr. Mason said, cow milk is to grow 400-pound cows.
Thank you.
Yeah. But people, again, to your point,
and a lot of people, every time they eat milk, they fart. Every time they take any dairy, they gonna have gas and it's gonna be bad. And then they're gonna be eating it with all kind of other stuff, and it's all gonna be spoiling and rotten inside of them. They just stinking up the world.
Yes, agreed. That's true. Yes. Well, yeah. We don't do cow milk. It does have all the things that you just said.
You know, we ain't supposed to be medicating ourselves after we eat. What other species got to take medicine to help digest their food after they eat? If you got to take medicine to help digest your food, you done ate the wrong food, or you done entangled all kind of weird stuff up in there, and your whole system broke down. It just shut down. It don't even know what to do. Look, your whole digestive system is like, I don't know what to do. You know that emoji? You know that little emoji that do like this? I use it all the time when I don't know some shit. I don't know. That's what your body do.
Look, it just be locked up. The system just be locked up.
Just like, I'm going to bed. You digest it yourself. What is all this? What you done gave me? It's some dye. It's some sugar. It's some chemicals. It's some cows. It's some pigs. It might have a rat up in there. I'm just eating everything. Just put it all on one plate. Just everything. I just eat everything.
I'm crying. Literally, okay. I'm crying.
Yeah. Back to you, Dr. Tiana. We have Dr. So, okay, we're running. I don't even know what to say because,
do this.
I'm just like, we're all like this. So
let me just say this.
We're gonna have her back.
We're gonna have you back. But that's the emoji. Anytime somebody gets up from Thanksgiving and go, oh, my stomach hurts. I don't know what to tell you. Got a lot of stuff all mixed up in there.
Yeah, you're gonna be in trouble. You're gonna be in trouble this evening.
Yeah,
you're gonna have some acid reflux.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And then you go, and no, you can't use my bathroom.
Go home. Go home.
You need to go home.
Then we had this.
We have plenty of people. No, you can't use this bathroom.
No. This bathroom only flush vegetables.
I can remember them family members that was like, I do not want Junior coming over here today. Boy, you come over here. You make sure you go to the bathroom before you come over here. You ain't fucking up my house today. Anyway. Okay. What time is it?
It's almost time. We're gonna let Dr. Tiana, because we don't went on a rant.
I know we went on a rant. I'm sorry.
Fill us in on anything else you want to say. The floor is yours. Tell us anything that you want people to look out for, to sign up for, to purchase your book, where they can get everything.
Right.
And I'm going to write it down in the feed here.
Okay.
And
I would definitely say,
wait, I'm gonna get in touch with you about my online retreat.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like you to be a guest.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I will just say this. This definitely has been amazing, really entertaining.
We made it through, Dr. Tiana.
We made it
through. We didn't like we were going to last. We were scared it was going to shut off.
Got me sitting on the floor.
That's all right. Our butts
so look, it did great. But I will say, to wrap up, I'm happy at where the conversation around health and veganism and plant-based is going. Do we need to make more strides? We most definitely do. Are certain regions having a little bit more, forward thinking than others? They most certainly are. But I think that platforms like this, seeing individuals continually to, push the message where they're on this platform, in the media, in the news, in school districts, hospitals, etc., is a good thing. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. I got the aha moment, like I shouldn't be eating like this, and neither should my family. And I work in healthcare, so I need to be an example, right? And so I'm just glad that I'm at this point and, open to whatever else, is there and out for me. So make sure you follow. You have all of my information. I'm on Instagram at Dr. Tionna Jenkins, DrTionna.
She ain't playing. She is on there.
Yes, I'm on there.
Everywhere on there.
And you can also go to the website at platethealthy.com, and I'm on Facebook at Plate It Healthy. But I appreciate you ladies so much.
We appreciate you too, Doc.
We did it, Doc. We made it
through.
We didn't get cut off. We're so proud. And somebody says, I'm a follow and a fan of tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, there you go.
Hold on, because I'm trying to read this little thing like I'm a follow. Okay, hold on.
Thanks, Kimberly.
I am a follow and a fan of tonight. Got me thinking and ready to work harder and in the kitchen and the home gym.
Yes.
Beautiful ladies. Yes. And guys, remember, it's not just food, it's also fitness and mindset. They go hand in hand. You could be healthy eaters and a crappy mental state of mind, which services no one.
And if anybody's interested in the online retreat, the Love Your Age project, please go to my website, chefbabette.com. Make sure you leave your email address and all that good stuff, and we'll be getting at you.
Yeah, we got that coming up. And then we also have another site we're launching called Reclaim Haven, which is Mind, Body, Spirit. That'll be launching in April, I think.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of things. And make sure you stay up with Dr. Tiana. Yep. I got it in my head, Tiona, but it's Tiana. Make sure you stay up with her and get her cookbook, her classes. You know what? People are afraid to promote when others are doing the same thing. You know what? There's something for everyone out here. So we have cooking classes. She has cooking class. Everybody has something.
You can't have enough.
You can't have enough. You'll get a dish on hers. We might be on there getting some dishes.
Exactly.
You never know that you come on. I say, wait a minute, they done stole my dish. No, we wouldn't do that. We would give you credit. Like, right. What you talking about, girl?
Thank you all. Thanks for everybody who watched and shared and all that good stuff.
Have a good one.
Yeah, bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye. And guys, hold on for a second. Don't hang up yet. Bye, doctor. Next week, just so you know, let's get this off here. Next week, we have Jasmine. She has a new wonderful documentary that she's going to talk about.
Oh, yes. Good. Jasmine Labor?
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
We finally have her. And then the following week, we're going to have 2 vegans who actually had COVID. And they're going to tell you some of the stuff that moved them through it, like bead, bada, boom, bada, bing.
Yeah.
So herbs and things that helped got them through the situation.
Right.
And people think that vegans can't get COVID. We get
illnesses. Yes.
It's just that your body, can knock them out.
You just got to have a strong immune system. So it doesn't take you out.
Right. I don't get sick, but everybody else around me gets sick.
I don't get sick
I
either.
just claim that.
That's why we hang out like this.
Right,
we've been hanging out since COVID started, huh?
COVID started.
Yeah.
But we're very careful, so don't worry. We ain't trying to give nobody COVID.
Anyway, tonight was fun.
Tuning in.
I love y'all.
We love you guys. We'll see you next week. And I'm going to go home and wash my face.
Me too. I got to.
Good night. Okay, you're a drug addict.